Area Board of Education. First, we have the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Ackerman, can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Birchfield, Dr. Chesney,
Here.
Mr. Stahl,
Here.
Mr. Myers, Here. Mr. Conley,
Here.
Mrs. Reed, Here. Mr. Trombley.
Here. Thank you. And next, we have approval of the agenda. Your motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? Support. Moved by Stahl, supported by Myers.
I would like to actually amend the agenda. I would move that we amend the agenda to move the board norm resolution from for action to for future action, and then to add for future action another item for the approval of certified staff for the orchestra teacher.
Okay, thank you. So that was move item B from for action to for future action and add an item J related to the orchestra.
I think that gets us down to K, but yes.
Okay, very good. Is there any discussion?
I would concur with that only because I literally got the letter from Andy. He sent it to my son. And I just got it 5 minutes ago.
Okay.
Yes. I support.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the amended agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? 6-0. Okay, recognition, Dr. Gray.
Emma, can you come forward, please? As she walks up, I'm going to brag a little bit about Miss Emma Shinsky. So, Karen Story actually sent this to me. She's worked with Emma. Emma is a newly graduated senior of Brighton High School on her way to Colorado to play soccer at Colorado State University. We're very, very proud. And this is how the story began. It all started in an AP language class with a year-long assignment to research a topic the students were passionate about. Senior Emma Shinsky chose to do hers on therapy dogs in school. The final phase of this project was to make an impact. From the beginning, Emma had a goal to gift a dog to a school that needed one. However, she thought it was a distant goal. Karen Story, special education teacher at Maltby Intermediate School, was able to raise funding for both Maltby's dog Duncan, donated by Dr. Duncan, and the high school's dog Caesar. Emma Shinsky met with her in hopes of being inspired to be able to reach her goal. Story was ecstatic when Shinsky approached her because her lifelong dream is to make sure every school has a school facility dog. After the meeting, the goal was made very possible with Story's enthusiasm, knowledge, and willingness to help. The two have worked together to receive local sponsorships from Cut and Care Lawn Care, Hawkins PTO, Dan Jurek, Mimic Scherf Agency, Carpet Direct, Martha's Fudge, Scruffy to Fluffy, Woodland Animal Hospital, and Pet Provisions. After many months of hard work, the two were able to reach their goal and are thrilled to announce that Hawkins Elementary School will be receiving the gift of a male yellow lab puppy to assist students and teachers for many years to come. The sweet puppy is the half-brother of Duncan, who is Maltby's second school therapy dog. Caesar was the first in partial retirement, and we are so thankful for Emma and her dedication to Brighton Area Schools. So thank you, Emma, for your hard work, and congratulations. While she's doing this, for those of you that don't know, if you don't read the paper, she was also the girls' soccer player you saw in the newspaper every other day. I tease her about it all the time. She's just a star for us. We'll definitely miss her next year. It was great having you, and be sure and let us know how you do at Colorado. So thank you, Emma.
Thank you very much. All right, next item, or any other recognition, Doctor?
That's it.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is call to the public. Is there anyone who would like to go up for call to the public? All right, seeing none, we move on to superintendent report. Dr. Gray.
The only thing we have this week is obviously auditors are in as we get to the end of the year, things are going well, and hope to be done by the end of the week.
Very good. Auditors of,
Finance.
okay. Any other questions for Dr. Gray? All right. Board of Education bulletins. Mr. Trump.
Last week, I attended the Hawkins Elementary. They had opened up, I'm assuming some of the other people I know, I saw Alicia there, for the leader in me, the presentation and the program. And I happened to attend the morning portion of it. And again, I'd have to say some of the stuff that they're doing, it's incredible to see these kindergartners walk up, introduce themselves, stick their hand out, want to shake it. The confidence they have in what they're doing. Everyone, we went to the different stations in the different classrooms, spent probably, I don't know, hour and a half there maybe. And, you know, you relate that back to the business, particularly the business that I'm in, you can see a lot of these same principles. And I'm assuming it's based off the original principles, but again, you know, they talk about sharpening the saw and the other things that go along with it. I just thought it was a really good thing, and I'm hoping to see this. I think it's going to carry through the rest of the elementary schools, and I hope it does. So,
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Anybody else? Mr. Myers?
I just wanted to follow up with Mr. Trump was coming. I happened to attend, I think it was the afternoon session the same day, and it was, Mr. Stahl was there. It was truly remarkable what they were doing as part of that program. It is clearly creating skills in these young children to be leaders beyond just academic, the academic environment, and it was very impressive, and it would be something that would be, I think, a real asset to be able to implement across the board in all of our elementary schools. And actually, I have a question, Dr. Gray. Wasn't the Leader Me program, wasn't that from a grant or funding through the Base Foundation?
It was PTO originally.
Okay.
Yep.
But I've read something where the Base Foundation had supported
Not
that.
that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Could be, but I know originally PTO raised a significant level.
In any event, it was truly remarkable, as Mr. Trump pointed out. The other thing that I have, I attended the LESA board meeting last Monday night as the designated representative, and Ms. Loy and Mr. Cortez were unanimously selected to new terms to the LESA board.
Thank you, Mr. Myers. Anyone else? I'll speak just briefly. All of us were there at the wonderful commencements on Saturday. And just saying, I know Mr. Myers, we both had daughters graduating, and just the commencements. As always, it's turned over to the students to run the commencements and to put the program together, and it's absolutely outstanding. And then also the senior all-night party. I worked first shift at the senior all-night party, and the quality and content and quantity of events that they had for all of the seniors there was just absolutely amazing. It was just wonderfully done. I talked to Mr. Vecchione before the meeting. I'd like to somehow get them, the people who were responsible for this, up for shining stars. It's just exceptional. The students were very well behaved, and it was just a wonderful evening had by all. Any other Board of Education bulletins? All right, move on to 4 action. Minutes of May 22nd, 2017. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
support.
All right. Moved by Ms. Reed, support by Mr. Stahl. Is there any discussion? No discussion, let us vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I can't say that. Opposed? Abstentions? Me. Motion passes 501. Item B has been moved down. Donation to Hilton PTO. Item C.
Per Board Policy 7230, grants Gibson Quest $1,000. Please accept a one-time donation of between $2,000 and $2,400 for the flexible seating. The picture is on page 11, and we accept this, or we recommend you accept this with appreciation from the Hilton PTO.
Is there a motion? Moved by Myers, support by Reed. Is there any discussion?
Can I get what the discrepancy in price would be?
I don't know if they have the final price. It's somewhere, I think, depending on when they order, between 2 and 2,400.
That's what, yeah, okay. So that it's not a firm.
Yeah, it's 2,000 minimum, 2,400 max.
And question I had, and I read a little bit on the description, but why? Is it just basically the distraction of being on kind of a wobble chair?
Yeah, I would recommend, lots of our classrooms have these now for a lot of kids. They're very helpful to maintain focus, gives them something to do, especially for our more spirited ones. And I have a sample of it up in my office if you'd like to see one. But my suggestion would be just go to a classroom where they have them. They have several up morning as well, and watch the kids that previously might have struggled with some of those. It seems to help them focus.
Is it pronounced, do you know if it's pronounced hockey or hokey?
I think it's helpful.
Okay. Any other questions or discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? 6-0. All right, next is donation Hilton Elementary.
This is a donation to Hilton Elementary from Buckley and Valley Real Estate for the service dog, $6,000. Again, our goal is to get with every single building, and we are closing in on that, so good things.
Very good. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Conley, support by, is that Conley? Yes. Okay, support by Conley. Is there any discussion? What does the service dog cost?
Usually they're up in the $8,000-9,000 range, depending on what.
So
It's really the training.
Okay, so we're getting these significant donations, they come in, and then we're hoping to build up to $8,000 or $9,000. Okay, very nice. Thank you. Any other discussion, questions? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? 6-0-0. Donation from Hawkins PTO.
Yep, Hawkins PTO donated $2,500. Again, this goes towards the purchase of the PTO service dog for that particular purpose.
Very good. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Trombley. Support by Myers. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, let us have a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? 6-0-0. BASA contracts.
Recommend you accept the BOSS contract as presented through June 30th, 2020. Receive no questions.
All right, is there a motion?
So moved.
Support by Stahl, support by Conley. Is there any discussion?
Again, there's no change
No change from this year or the
from
year.
last year. Right. Yep, okay.
Just there.
So I have a question. In the 4 action, it calls it a contract. When I look at the cover sheet, it calls it a handbook. So what is what?
Administrators can't be in a union, so they have loosely formed associations. We bargain, and I use air quotes, with those particular groups, just like any other user groups in our particular organization. What you have in front of you is a contract that stipulates the operating or working conditions of that particular group. And it's just one of the ways we do it in education.
Okay. Should it read approval of the handbook, or should it read approval of contracts?
It's a document you're approving.
Okay. Any other discussion, questions? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? 6-0. Donation to BHS.
Again, this one is a donation to our high school from Fanuc Robot, from TRW in Fowlerville, and FMB, $25,000 for workforce training for the robotics team, plus a D8L86 engine for $3,900 for, again, training in our advanced automotive tech student classroom.
All right, is there a motion? Moved by Conley, second.
Support.
Support by Trombley. Is there any discussion? I have a question on this one. Is it okay to have two of them together in one
Yep.
agenda?
Yep.
Okay, that's not, all right. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 6-0. Moving on to for future action, MHSAA resolution.
Every year during this month, you have this placed in front of you. It's so that we can participate with our athletic programs next year in the Michigan High School Athletic Association.
All right, is there any discussion on this or any questions?
I have a question. Content-wise, is this substantially different than last year?
I don't think so, no. I don't think it's changed very much in the 20 plus years I've been doing it.
Again, this is a resolution that you're asking.
Yeah, you pass this and then we participate.
And if I may, it's basically about the rules by which we play, and it also seems to get us liability insurance. So just a
Yeah. The rest that we pick up in-house.
Any other questions, comments? All right, item B, donation of service dog.
Again, another donation for service dogs, and this will hopefully push dogs across every building. I don't know if you've ever seen a service dog in action. Again, I would say take a look at what Caesar does with sometimes kids that are in crisis, or Duncan, which is developing into what Caesar was. You can take kids that struggle with a lot of different issues and set them by a service dog, and there's definitely a calming effect. A lot of times it prevents discipline and prevents other situations from happening. It's really a unique, unbelievable tool. I'd never seen it until I'd come to Brighton, and I met Caesar for the first time. We had another one previously, a Golden Lab, and they've both since been retired. And I think no matter where I'm at from this moment on, we'll definitely push more because they do a wonderful job.
Do we know, what is GL Food Associates?
It's one of our financial firms.
What does that mean?
They do investing. They do investments for teachers, administrators, support staff.
Okay. Any other questions or comments on this? It says that we don't know specific school. Or do
Yeah, again, we're trying to get as much donations put together before, plus you gotta find the right dog, and then you gotta go through the training. Training's really expensive.
Okay.
But I also think, talking Karen's story too, she's talking about similar to the buses, to stagger the arrival dates.
So they don't all leave at once.
Exactly, and they don't all get at once.
All right. Any other questions or comments on that? All right. Moving on, item C, donation of a piano.
We recommend again that you accept the donation of a Kawhi Model 802 piano for valued at over $1,000. I don't know where this particular piano is going. I haven't seen, but we were checking. Where's it coming?
You guys quiet the building? That's the question.
I just got this, so I'll take a look and have that answer for you for next time.
It's either, I can't remember if it's going to Horny or the high school. I know I heard that. I don't know where it's landing. I know there were 2 teachers interested in it. And I believe it was
It is a private donor. I know Phil Johnson looked at it to see if it was something that we can use, and he deemed that it was, student worthy, so.
Okay.
Do you know, was it Wade Bray? Is that the gentleman's name that's donating?
I wasn't involved in this, I'm not sure who donated it.
No, Mr. Bray, he indicated,
I think so.
yeah, he'd indicated that he was going to donate. I've seen the piano.
The big idea here is that we don't accept something that we can't use, and so that's why we were really careful to make sure that it was something that we can utilize.
I think, from the questions from the board table then, prior to, or when it goes onto the 4 action items, knowing whence it came and where it's going to help the board.
Yeah.
Is that hot topic? Is that a word? Thank you. All right, Neola policy.
You have in front of you the next round of Neola policy, from 0160 all the way to 8340. I sent you the cheat sheet in terms of the yellow document. It's one of our previous emails. Most of it's pretty standard stuff. I would say if you have specific questions after reading the cheat sheet and through the particular policies, please give me a call or set up a time where we can come in and run through them. I've written a general cheat sheet as well that I have here that can answer any of those questions. But like I said, if you want to talk about it at a later date or come in, we can go through these individually.
Is there any particular comments or questions about the Neola policies?
Not today.
Okay. All right, moving on. Projected budget for 17-18.
Yes, good evening, board. You have in your packet the projected budget for 17-18. It begins on page 148, and you do have 2 weeks to look at this and ask any questions you may have before you're asked to approve this. If you could, I don't want to spend a lot of time going over this because I know you don't have time to look at this, but at the bottom of page 153 in your packet, this is kind of the page that summarizes where we're at and where we're headed. And so it's a little hard to read because of the photocopying, but we essentially have $4 million in fund. We were planning on putting another 2 in there to get to $6 million. And our projected budget is estimated at $65 million. So we're closing in on our 10% target minimum fund balance, which is a good thing.
Very good, thank you. And I believe too, Mr. Myers is going to be presenting on the committee report during board committee reports and taking a little bit of a deeper dive on both the projected budget and the amended budget. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on the projected budget? All right, moving on to the amended budget.
Okay, so then for the amended budget, page 177, again, is the snapshot of the entire budget on one page. We are estimating that our budgetary expenditures will be about, I think there's about a $60,000 swing between what we had projected in the winter and what we think we're going to end up, which is, obviously a very small number on a $60 million budget. And then the revenue, there's about a $300,000 swing, and the biggest chunk of that is that in January, we decided to purchase the buses that we were originally considering leasing. And so that reduced our revenue by a couple $100,000. But generally, and as we always do, we're tracking extremely close to the amended budget that you approved in the winter.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gissinger. And we have Mr. Myers here to take a little bit of a deeper dive on that. Is there any other questions at this moment?
I have one question. The audit that's ongoing is on the 15-16 school year?
16-17.
16-17. Okay.
Any other questions? All right, moving on then to school bond loan fund resolution.
Okay, so you have in your packet a resolution for the school bond loan fund. And this is, you've done this once before last year, and this came about as a statutory requirement when they started to phase out districts getting into the school bond loan fund. If you recall, we were one of the last school districts to get into the school bond loan fund. And this is just a requirement that we let this Michigan Department of Treasury know what we're levying, how much we're borrowing, and basically just approving that activity with them.
Okay. Are there any questions on the school bond loan fund? Seeing none, move on to item H, administrative hire, Spencer Elementary School.
Yeah, the next 2 are really our new administrative hires after an extensive, exhaustive search. We found 2 unbelievable candidates. One of them is here in the audience with us tonight. The other one will be at the next board meeting, but the first one is the Spencer Elementary School hire. Very pleased to announce Bill Renner as our new Spencer Elementary School principal. Bill will look familiar. He spent a number of years at Miller as the kindergarten building, and then when we talked about his future, I said, you better vary it up a little bit and go take a look at some other grades, which he did at Maltby. And then he actually left the district too and gained some experience with Brandon School District as building principal. He rose to the top. It was a unanimous decision out of that particular committee. We met with him as a central office staff as well, ran him through the vetting process, and we are very, very excited to have Bill on board for next year. So Bill's a resident of Brighton. He has 2 kids, obviously, and his wife in the audience with him tonight, and we just couldn't be happier about Bill and the direction of Spencer as we move forward. So welcome, Bill.
Welcome.
Congratulations.
Are there any questions? I have a couple questions. How big was the pool?
For both the positions, it was 292 candidates between the Scranton assistant principal job and co-principal job and the Spencer Elementary principal job, and they were split fairly evenly.
Okay. Very good. And who was on the selection committee?
So there was an internal selection committee that was run at the building level with teachers and support staff and parents and all sorts of people, and then they made recommendations on a couple candidates with their ranking of how they did them after they used the metric to get to us. And then Dr. Gissinger, myself, and Dr. Suri sat and vetted the candidate from there. I made reference calls after that, and then moved forward on both.
Very good. Thank you. Any other questions? Well, Mr. Renner, at the next meeting, there'll be the official vote, but welcome home.
Thank you.
All right. Next item on the agenda is administrative hire for Scranton.
Very similar process at Scranton Middle School. We came out with Jennifer Hiller. Jennifer has extensive administrative experience. She's coming to us from Farmington Public Schools. Jennifer is also a resident of Brighton, which I didn't know when we started the process. But she lives here as well. I can tell we picked a good one in this one as well, as I know the superintendent of Farmington very, very well, and he was not pleased at all when we made that particular call. And he had high hopes for keeping her there and doing lots of different things with her in that particular district administratively. So again, 2 great candidates. I really look forward to Jennifer as well, rounding out that team, filling in the weaknesses where the other has strengths. So again, 292 candidates, but I really feel like we landed on the 2 best. And I'm really excited about them joining our team and the direction both those buildings will have.
Very good. Will Jennifer be able to join us? You know,
Next meeting.
26th?
Yeah, that's the goal.
Very good. Thank you. Next item is the board norm resolution. We moved that from 4 action to 4 future action. I was contacted by a board member just about the wording on it, and I don't know if you want to address that or if you want to handle it offline. Any suggestions?
No, one of the reasons that I wanted this to move to 4 future actions instead of 4 actions to give us more time to think through the language, because I think there's a big change between this version and some of the prior versions. In my mind, we set out to come up with a resolution that would provide us, much like the guidance we have sitting behind us on the wall, standards for how we approach our job and present ourselves to the public. And I think I have some concerns about some of the specifics that are in this language. I think it might serve the board better if we go to a broader discussion or a broader statement to our responsibility to the public and to each other. But I certainly would love to hear the thoughts and comments of my fellow board members.
Please, Mr. Myers.
Well, no, I agree with Mr. First of all, we got it so late today, I think it's prudent to push it off and give us a chance to look it over and hopefully come up with something that we can all agree on as a consensus as a board.
How do we have that conversation? I guess I'm not in agreement or disagreement, but I'm trying to figure out how we have that conversation. Is it, because I think the process we're waiting for now is, and Mr. Birchfield will say, if you have any corrections, send me corrections. So we send the corrections, he works the corrections in, then look at the next version, that's what we look at the next meeting. And I think it does need to have that conversation. So do we want to keep it on for future action through the next meeting, or through all 7 of us being here and break it down sentence by sentence, or what is the process to make this a good
I would leave
direction?
that up to Mr. Birchfield. He's the one that authored it.
Yeah, that's the thing, I think we got it right, so it should be here so we can have that discussion. I agree.
I support that everybody send their ideas to Mr. Birchfield in the meantime. Have him come back and if he believes it needs to happen, fine. As far as I'm concerned, like I said, I think it's a document we should spend time on other things than this way on this, because we have a lot we need to do that is important. This is important to some, so I'll have my suggestions and ideas to Mr. Birchfield and see what he brings back.
I think it might also be good for this next round if there are specific things that you're concerned about. Maybe we ultimately have the board take a look at several versions instead of just one composite version, so we can see what's there.
So I've heard suggestions that we send our ideas into Mr. Birchfield, and that he puts together multiple versions of this, and then we vote on the version that seems to meet the best interest of the board. That's what I'm hearing.
Unless
Well,
there are
again,
any concerns about that process. I certainly don't want to create a process that's going to cause,
You'd have to vote at the table. on it.
Absolutely,
You couldn't
yes.
pick your favorite offline.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And again, I would expect we get it with a timely manner, that we would have chances to read it, review it, that kind of thing, other than the night before the meeting.
Okay. And until we get it to the right point, we will keep it in for future action. And try to move it up once we get the wording such that we can look at good alternatives. All right, next item, orchestra.
We do have our orchestra teacher that, again, did a very exhaustive approach to this particular one as well. This is a new 1.0 strings orchestra, and I have to admit I was wrong on this one. I didn't think we would get that many kids that signed up. We have over 80 kids that signed up, which is fantastic. I didn't know how many people we could attract, and we attracted just a bunch of great candidates. We landed on Steven Fernandez. He is obviously his resume attached. Again, there was a good-sized crew. I didn't insert myself into this one because I know nothing about it. But we did have all the relevant people that do know what they're doing in this area at that particular table, and this was their unanimous choice. Again, really looking forward to this program expanding. It's another one of those that we talked about for years and years to do. So at one point, we didn't have the financial capability, and now we have the interest and the capability, so it's an exciting day for this.
Thank you. How many candidates do we have for this one?
Remember total, Dr. Gistinger, do you remember how many candidates originally was it?
I don't know.
I can't remember. There was quite
I
a
think we
few.
narrowed it down to 5 or 6 in the interview process.
They felt all 5, like 4 or 5 of the 5 or 6 could have been in, but
Mhm.
this one goes to the top. That's what I understand.
Very good. You have a question? Yes.
So in looking at this, and I understand that he's a music teacher, but on the back page under chamber music coach, could you tell me please what apprehension of repertoire is?
Where's that?
Under chamber music coach.
I have no idea.
Is that a misspell?
No, it doesn't look like it. Scaffolding to facilitate apprehension of repertoire. I think it sounds like really tough music.
Or should it be taught appropriate repertoire, like the one down below?
I have no idea.
Well, that was on the spelling mistake. Fine, teaching. I got it.
I'll ask.
Okay.
I don't know.
I have another question. Is Mrs. Hoffman on the committee? Be very excited.
I think Hoffman was, and I think Johnson was. Many of the music instructors.
Good. All right, any other questions for item K, I guess, orchestra? All right, that's all in for future action. Board committee reports.
report on our subcommittee meeting, held on the 6th. In this, in our discussions, we were talking about transportation, need more buses, more paid for drivers, is something we'll be going through more, discussing more in the future. Cell phone policy is correct, in fact, we're going to compare that to the high school, see what we come up with for that. We do have some problems and issues. A lacrosse wall, committee did approve $13,000 for the construction of this wall in the summer. And really the problem is it's for damage of tennis and lot fences. There's a lot of that going on. We give them a place to do it because they're going to practice. It's probably for that as well as it's good for the kids. They can practice on it. A dome focus group, we're discussing this. We're looking at bringing in all of the players, coaches, support staff, band members, etc. We need to get a group together and look on this. And stadium wall options, as we've discussed many times, the wall in front of the stadium, the cracks in it, and some of the problems with that. And we're looking at some alternative covers for it. We've got a few on the books right now we're discussing, and bringing a few more. We have the list of the same. But we're to report on that in the future. That's what we have there.
Thank you. Questions or reports? Also, on the cracking wall and the work that we're going to pay for that, what's the approximate cost of paying for that repair?
We don't know yet. That's the thing. We're getting estimates together.
Is anything going to be covered by the original contract?
There's some discussion about home tax, tires.
Discussion, approach them and contact them.
That's it.
I remember when the bidders were happening, we kind of let them slide out to the side and we paid them. We were needing out to repair something that was designed with an inferior design. And Mr. Trombley brought it to everybody's attention the week it happened. We had it happen right away. It didn't happen months or years, it happened weeks later. So I'd like an update on that, and exactly who's going to be funding this. And if we are funding it ourselves, how that happened.
I can tell you I have all the documentation.
Any other questions or comments, Mr. Stahl? All right, Mr. Myers?
Thank you. The Finance Committee met on June 8th, and the primary focus of the discussion centered on the 2016-2017 final amended budget and the proposed 2017-2018 original budget, both of which, as Dr. Gistinger covered briefly, is one of the future action in tonight's agenda. Some of the adjustments in the proposed final amended budget for 2016-2017. From the first amended budget, there's been an additional reduction in local, state, and federal revenue by approximately $500,000. That's been partially offset by additional revenue from special and vocational educational programs, food service programs, and sale of fixed assets. The result is that there's approximately $300,000 reduction in the end of the year fund balance, which leaves an adjusted fund balance of slightly over $4 million going into the next fiscal year. The highlights of the proposed 2017-2018 original budget. The projected general fund revenue is indicated in the report, is $70,323,854, which is based upon conservative estimates of the state budget. That's probably the biggest unknown at this juncture, which have yet to be finalized by the legislature. But the projection is based upon a conservative estimate in that regard. Regarding local revenue in the proposed budget, the largest change from the 2016-2017 final amended budget is in the athletics department, and there is a $120,000 reduction in revenue based on the total elimination of the pay-to-play fees for the 2017-2018 year. The projected general fund expenditures slightly over $68 million. And this also includes the replacement of all remaining aged buses in the fleet that are at or beyond the useful life at a cost of about $500,000. It's my understanding that if that is approved and those buses are replaced, it will mean that all buses in the fleet are new since Dr. Gray's tenure. Is that correct, Dr. Gray?
Yeah, I think we're there, real close. I think we are.
So it's put a little position as well for the long term with regard to
Staying.
The net effect of all of that with regard to the proposed 2017-2018 budget is there will be a projected increase of $2 million in the fund balance at the end of the fiscal year, which will result, as Dr. Gistinger indicated, will result in a $6 million fund balance, which gets us obviously closer to our targeted percent, but still have work to do. The final topic that we discussed at the Finance Committee meeting was the dome financing. And to follow Mr. Stahl's comments, we're looking at the prospect of purchasing a removable dome. The focus group is being established to assess facility usage and fees, and it was the consensus that before we begin looking at financing options, it would be prudent to really have our arms around the potential usage, fees that might be generated, and then we can look at possible financing for that endeavor. I think conceptually it's something that we would all be interested in exploring, but numbers have to make sense.
Question in that, are there any other high schools that have one?
I don't know the answer to that.
Maybe west side of the state, I don't know, Bill, you know that?
I think, not necessarily a dome, but I think Country Day has an indoor facility.
I know Portage has two. Their warehouse, they're not inflatables. They have indoor tracks and several basketball or courts. And they have those spread on opposite ends of their community.
Any additional questions for Mr. Myers, Mr. Stahl, or Dr. Gistinger?
Did you determine where the increase in equity is coming from? Or are we gaining some equity?
Because we're so darn good at what we do.
No, we
Oh,
raised
okay.
taxes. We raised taxes.
Part of it, yeah. The other part of it is shared service.
I got it. The LASA is 1.8 million a year in increased revenue. And then, so what else? So we're showing 200,000 and more. So we're showing $2 million gain. So we got 1.8 million from LASA and 2 million, or 200,000, and 200,000, 300,000 in shared services. So that's a question, yeah.
Well, and I think that under all versions of the proposed state budget, they all include per pupil funding that's going to go up relative to historical levels for us. So that's going to be,
So how much of an increase was that?
120%.
So what's that total?
About $1 million.
Was it more for high schools?
No, they eliminated that. That was in the Senate version. So you had the governor's version, you had the House version, you had the Senate version. So the governor's version had $100 per pupil. The House version had roughly $100, but they had a kicker in there for high school age students. That was another $40. Then the Senate version had the 2 times formula, and the 2 times formula, what that means is even today there's a gap between the lowest funded district and the highest funded district. So Brighton is at the bottom or base of the funded districts, and the top funded districts are about $8,314, or roughly in that range. So in the past, I would say 4 or 5 years, anytime there's been a per pupil increase, they've given the base twice as much as they're giving at the top to try to do a catch-up. And so we budgeted actually $100 per pupil. The one we just saw come out of the school aid committee is $120 per pupil. It's roughly $1 million increase to our budget in terms of what we do. And then there's other at-risk funding and other pieces to that. The shared service maintains and we move forward.
So, that could clarify a little bit. So 1.7 million of it's the LASA budget.
Roughly.
Okay, we got a $1 million increase in per pupil funding.
Yep.
In the budget, so that's 2.7 million. And then we got shared services, so actually we're down to 700,000 from those increases, and we're having expenditures going out. Yeah. So
A lot of them are one-time expenditures.
So technically, though, our budget is reflecting the increases and use of those increases.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so the question, and this question has been posed at this table a lot, would be what happened if you got a 0% increase one year, and what would happen if shared services went away? That's been the base of it. And there's a little under $2 million that we typically profit in terms of shared service, which we have one-time expenditures from, and it's the same thing. There is some operating cost that goes into state increases, because your utilities go up each year, and you hire particular people and those types of things. So the 1.7 million from LESA is a 10-year commitment. It raises us to a 50% renewal or special ed millage. So it could be 100, but we don't have it. But the actual other pieces we can easily remove from the budget if we had to. They're not incorporated into.
That's the important part.
Yes.
Because as this board goes forward, in times of belt tightening, what's the list of things that can be cut immediately to bring the budget?
Buses each year, you can do the AED machines we're doing next
I don't
year.
know about the bus thing, I think we're doing.
Maintenance vans.
Here's the thing about the
Yeah.
buses. Other districts have ran special villages to pay for this stuff. Right now, we're paying for these things without increasing taxes. We're able to pay to use our general fund to do it without hurting our curriculum and direction of the school. So I think that's a great use. So I don't have a problem with it. And that's why I wanted to kind of show, as you use this funding, this 1.7 to 1 million, the shared services is 2 million. So really, if you add 2 million into that, it's under 2. Is it just under 2 now? Okay, so 2 million, so that's 4.7 now. So we've spent 2.7 million of that.
Absolutely.
Okay, but the 2.7 additional income
Yep.
from a base budget from per pupil funding.
Yep.
So we're spending a lot of money outside of what we would normally get. But again, buses you have to buy, and again, you're not
Well,
increasing
that's,
taxes.
yeah, and it's always interesting to have that theoretical debate, because that's what they send it to us for. We're supposed to educate kids with that money. We're supposed to buy things for the district. We're supposed to manage it correctly, which is what the auditors always confirm for us. So we'll continue to do that. I think the thing to watch is the 1.7 from LESA. You get to year 8, 9, or 10 if they're going to go for the Headley rollback restoration again. And then obviously just manage the other situations in terms of what the state gives us and what we predict. Again, it's putting $2 million in fund equity each year is a pretty comfortable spot for us.
I disagree, we raised taxes to do it.
We did.
Needs to-
The county did.
The county did, and that money needs to get to students.
It does.
Technically, it may not want to be the fund equity. The fund equity should be the million in per pupil funding, and then also the money from shared services and that LESA money that flows right to the special needs students. Just throwing it out there.
Let me ask you my question. Are you part of the finance committee? Were you at that meeting?
No,
That's probably why I asked.
I'm answering the question. Well, I think it's important to talk about.
Oh, no, I do too, but I was wondering.
We do. This is a normal. This is an annual discussion.
Annual discussion.
Yeah, no, no.
I would like to add to that discussion, what is our total budget right now for special education and how much?
6.6 million.
So a significant chunk of that is our general fund dollars.
Yep.
And the LESA money really just only covers a small portion of what we commit to
The
those
additional.
students.
Well, remember,
Already.
remember, it depends on how you define additional. We can debate this too. We're refunded for special education by our taxpayers at 50% instead of 100%. You go to Washtenaw County and they're funded at 100. You go to Kalamazoo, they're funded at 100. We haven't kept up with the rollbacks in terms of that because the LESA didn't go for it. So I think you can argue both sides of the fence. I understand your point every time you bring it up, and I can tell you with great surety that this budget is a solid budget. Moving forward, I really do expect to put at least $2 million in fund equity. And we have done one-time purchases with the other money that you see that I think makes sense for the students. The students are benefiting, and I'm not worried in case something economy-wise started to slip.
Thank you.
Any other questions about board committee reports or any more board committee reports? All right. Second call to the public. Would anyone like to come up to the microphone for a call to the public? All right, seeing none. Oh,
Will said I can go to Benefit. How many service dogs are like in service right now?
We have part of one at the high school in Caesar, and then we have one new one at Maltby and Duncan.
Okay. So the goal is to get service dogs to every single school?
That would be the goal.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Eichen. Any other questions or call to the public? All right.
I'd like to make a motion that we move to closed session for the purpose of discussing negotiation strategies connected with BASA, VEA, and VESPA bargaining units as much as the administration has requested a closed session, and we will be approving or reviewing for approval the May 22nd closed minutes.
I believe that needs a roll call vote.
All right, who supported?
Support.
Moved by Reed, supported by Stahl. Roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Ms.
Mr.
Eckman?
Conley?
Yes.
Mrs. Reed?
Yes?
Mr. Myers?
Yes.
Mr. Conley?
Yes.
Dr. Chesney?
Yes.
Mr. Stahl?
Yes.
All right, we are going into closed session. We'll take a 5-minute break and be back here if you wish by 7:55.